Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. The rain deluged the dark streets like a relentless downpour of sorrow, soaking through the pitted pavement and pooling in the cracks of lives long broken. Alex stood beneath the flickering streetlight, a forgotten figure enveloped in the shadows of betrayal and heartbreak, his heart hammering in his chest as he clutched the letter. For weeks, he had felt an unsettling distance burgeon between him and his wife, Mia, a distance forged in whispers and secret smiles that had carved a void in their love. But the letter changed everything. Its words dripped with venom, taunting him with the revelation of a secret affair, and he could feel the stirrings of revenge bubbling within. It was late evening when Alex had first discovered it, a piece of paper hastily stuffed beneath the doormat, a flimsy barrier between his world and the brutal truth. As he unfolded it, his hands trembled, each word slicing through the air with the precision of a knife. "I can't keep lying. I love you, but it's not Alex. It's someone else." The words twirled around his mind, a dark melody spiraling into chaos. His eyes burned as he read the signature. Liam, his closest friend, the brother he never had plunged a dagger into his back with unforgiving ease. Images of Mia and Liam together haunted him, laughter echoing in his ears like a cruel chorus. They met at college, had shared endless evenings where dreams mingled with foolish hopes. And now, it felt like a cruel comedy, a twisted play where he was the fool unknowingly cast in the role of an unsuspecting husband. Mia was the love of his life, the woman he envisioned growing old with. As he paced the streets, thunder rolled in the distance, an ominous herald of the storm brewing within him. Each angry step pulled him deeper into the belly of betrayal, the air thickening with memories of their stolen kisses and promises made. A bristling rage coursed through his veins, igniting the hollow ache that had begun to fester in his chest. He stopped to catch his breath, leaning against the rain-slicked wall, and closed his eyes. Vivid flashes stormed his mind. Mia's laughter as she spun around in that turquoise dress, her fingers entwined in his as they danced under the stars, and the warmth of her embrace that felt like home. He had given her everything, his heart, his trust, everything. And now she had repaid him with a betrayal so profound that it felt like splinters embedding themselves in his soul. It wasn't just Liam he would have to confront. It was the very notion of loyalty, friendship, and love that required reckoning. Rage twisted his gut, pushing him onward with an urgency that burned just as fiercely as the rain poured down. In that moment of fury, an idea flickered within him. Revenge was not just a whim, it was a necessity, a way to reclaim the fragments of his shattered heart. Mia had always been the center of his universe, the sunlight breaking through his darkest days. Yet here she was shrouded in darkness, a traitor cloaked in the semblance of the woman he loved. With every passing moment, the knife carved deeper. He had planned their future together, and she had rewritten the narrative behind his back, one filled with deceit and desire for another. The familiar sound of laughter pulled him from his thoughts. He turned the corner, following the echo through the mist, and through the fog of doubt, he saw them. Liam and Mia stood close beneath some lamplight, their bodies angled toward each other, an intimacy that seared through Alex's chest. He felt a rawness boil in his throat, anger intertwining with the anguished disbelief that had wrapped around him like a shroud. He watched as Mia tossed her head back, laughter bubbling forth, and Liam leaned in closer, brushing a strand of her hair behind her ear, an innocently intimate gesture that made Alex's blood run cold. "Maybe I'll just disappear again for a bit." Liam's voice was light-hearted, teasing. Yet there was an undertone laced with something else, something darker. Mia's playful response was another razor-edged blow. "You don't have to," she replied softly, a smile on her lips that could twist sharp as a blade. "I just love having you around so much. I wouldn't want you to go anywhere." Alex's heart dropped to his stomach. He felt as if he were drowning in a whirlpool of despair and fury. Every laugh echoed like a death knell in his mind, ringing with the clarity of betrayal as he stood frozen in the shadows. He could confront them now, unleash the storm swirling within him, but the thought of that confrontation left his lips dry, the words struggling to form. He wanted to shatter the perception they had of a life untouched by consequences. A few hours earlier, he had taken time to gather himself, clinging to the edges of sanity, while his world twisted upside down. He sat at the kitchen table, Mia's warmth lingering in the air like a ghost, a stark contrast to the bitterness swelling in his throat. He replayed their last conversation, recalling the way she had brushed against him, her laughter like sweet music and melody now tainted with the bitter note of her lies. "Alex, are you even listening?" Mia asked, her tone edged with annoyance as she stepped into the kitchen. The fragrance of her lavender perfume lingered in the air, a reminder of her absence even as she stood before him. "Of course," he replied, forcing a smile, but in that moment, deep down he felt a chill creeping in. He had been listening, but not to her. Instead, his mind was awash with insecurities, thoughts of her distant smiles and hurried calls that lasted too long. "Mia, are we okay?" He struggled to control the tremor in his voice and caught the merest flicker in her eyes. Fear? Guilt? Perhaps both. Her smile faltered as she mustered the energy. "Alex, stop worrying. I've just been busy with work, that's all," she said, her reassurance feeling like a thin veil over a much darker truth. The urgent need to challenge her, to demand an explanation, hung like a blade above their fragile interactions. But he swallowed the bluster of his rage, not wanting to shatter the peace, convinced that his lingering suspicions were born of paranoia rather than reality. Yet, every day, the weight of dishonesty grew heavier, a tangible thing in their home. Sparks buzzing through the air whenever Mia returned late, her demeanor unreadable, inviting him to thread the needle of unacknowledged doubt. And now here they were, caught in a slow-motion dream, when a nightmare unfurled before him. Alex backed away, heart pounding, feeling the chasm open up beneath him as he retreated into the shadows where betrayal whispered its secrets, sweet poison seeping into his veins. Watching them together felt like a violation of a sanctity he had once believed impenetrable. He couldn't confront them yet. The raw emotion that fizzled in him needed time to crystallize into something deadly. He needed to strategize, to turn the chaos of heartache into a carefully concocted plan of revenge. Days crawled forward, the weight of betrayal festering within him like an infection. Alex grew more withdrawn, his interactions measured, only exposing the facade of normalcy to Mia, cracks glinting with malice beneath the surface. At the same time, his fascination with revenge morphed into a dark obsession. Each night, he would drown in the bitter brew of his coffee while drafting scenarios in his mind, painting every malicious detail of his imagined revenge. As the days merged into an amalgam of bitterness, Alex became more aware of his surroundings, the every nuances of their relationship, the stolen glances, the quiet conversations that now rang hollow with deception. Each time Mia laughed or touched his arm, anger flared in his chest. Alex began to envision the intricate web of deception unraveling, the world he had known collapsing under the pressure of disillusionment. He sat in his office, illuminated by the harsh glare of the computer screen, fingers hovering over the keys as he thought of what to do next. His chest was tight with tension, hand trembling against the desk. Searching, endless scrolling transformed into investigation, prying open the layers of their relationship with equal parts determination and fury. He learned of their secret rendezvous, a secret they believed hidden from him, with each detail bleeding into his mind as if taunting him to take more drastic measures. With the knowledge bursting destructively within him, the quiet nights became an echoing abyss filled with dreams of confrontation. He indulged in fantasy where he laid bare their sins, where the weight of their betrayal crushed them under the gravity of guilt. The vision of Mia's feigned innocence shattered at his hands became his solace, a catharsis waiting to be executed. Each breath he took felt like a promise that time would align perfectly for revenge. The storm that brewed inside him would demand retribution, the unyielding need for Mia and Liam to understand the depths of their betrayal, the agony they had wrought upon his heart. With every lingering gaze, the air thickening with realization, he turned on his heel to leave, leaving them behind in their web of deception. "Happy birthday, Liam," he muttered quietly as he departed, his voice a dagger cutting deep. Outside, the rain fell in relentless sheets. The hasty retreat of his chest tightened yet felt invigorated. Alex walked with purpose, free of the burdens that had shackled him. The satisfaction of revenge washed over him, relentless and rejuvenating like the rain that refused to cease. He stepped into the darkness, feeling a twisted sense of freedom as storm clouds unveiled themselves above, rumbling with thunder that echoed his resolve. They had both lost everything. In the end, it wasn't just betrayal, but a complete unraveling of everything they had taken for granted. As Alex walked away, the finality of his revenge hung thick in the air, a promise seared into the very fabric of his being. They had spurred the storm and unleashed his wrath. Now they would forever swim in the ocean of their own choices, drowning in the depths of their deceit. "You'll always be my second choice, won't you, Mia?" he whispered into the downpour. An epitaph for what once was. The rain hammered down as Alex stood in the shadows, watching Mia and Liam through the rain-blurred glass of a nearby cafe. Though he'd envisioned this moment countless times, nothing could prepare him for the visceral pain of witnessing their intimacy. Alex's fists clenched involuntarily at his sides, his heart wrestling with a maelstrom of emotions: anger, heartache, and an insatiable craving for revenge. The vibrant cafe was filled with laughter, but to him, it felt drenched in a corrosive poison, a binding shroud of betrayal, suffocating him. He caught snippets of their conversation. It was light and teasing, a knife twisting between his ribs as they shared inside jokes. Those jokes meant for him turned into bitter retorts behind his back. Liam leaned closer to Mia, his grin infectious, and Alex could almost hear the echoes of their laughter mix with the rain's relentless percussion. It only deepened his resolve, igniting a fire in his belly that demanded action. Let them think they've gotten away with this. Let them be comfortable in their deceit. When the door swung open and a gust of wind sent raindrops splattering against his face, Alex stepped back into the shadows. He would not confront them today. Today was merely reconnaissance. Patience would be his weapon. Days turned into weeks, and with each passing moment, the bitterness grew more intense. The rain became a steadfast companion, mirroring his internal turmoil as he embraced the darkness that now enveloped him. Alex disengaged himself from normalcy. He would be a ghost in their lives, watching, waiting, and plotting revenge like a predator closing in on its prey. He followed them on their meetups, mapping out their rendezvous like a clockwork machine, each meticulous detail carved deeper into his mind, a plan forming around their every action. He noted the cafe, the time, and even the little quirks of their laughter, tattooing them into his memory. The more he observed, the more clear his revenge became. Alex began preparing the ground for his revenge, using the very tools they had forged for despair. One night, he sat alone in the darkened living room, the glow of the TV illuminating the empty space around him, and pulled out his phone. He opened up a secure messaging app that allowed for safe communication without revealing his identity. Each keystroke felt cathartic as he planned how to strip them of their comfort, how to ensure they never saw their betrayal coming. "Mia meets Liam tomorrow at Cafe Vela, 7 p.m., he typed, before immediately wiping the message to conceal its existence. He would begin small, a seed of doubt planted in Mia's heart, the way liars crumble under the weight of their deceit. He took a deep breath, riding the wave of anger that surged through him. The next day, he put his plan into action. It was simple yet devastating. He would use a friend to plant the first seed of doubt. Alex reached out to Claire, a mutual friend who was suspicious of Mia's late-night work excuses. Though initially hesitant, Claire agreed to help, unaware of Alex's true intent. "Hey, have you noticed anything off with Mia lately?" he casually asked when they met at a bar that evening, his voice steady. "Now that you mention it, she has been acting a bit strange. I saw her with someone last week," Claire replied, her brows furrowing in thought. His heart raced as he pressed her for details, absorbing every line like a ravenous wolf. He learned that Mia had been seen with a stranger, a detail that he would take and manipulate. Alex smiled grimly, secure in the knowledge that the seed would fester. As he expected, Claire managed to casually bring up the comment with Mia. What followed was a chain reaction. Mia's phone lit up, notifications beeped in rapid succession, and fear gnawed at her intuition. The truth of her duplicity began to unfold, and Alex could feel the weight of his revenge coalescing around him. "I'll say, why would anyone think I was seeing someone?" Mia spat at Alex one morning after a restless night filled with suspicion and paranoia, the calm before the storm. He feigned ignorance, throwing a casual shrug her way. "Just another work gossip, I guess." "Don't take it to heart," he replied, daring to suppress a smirk. His facade seemed flawless, yet inside he reveled in her anxiety. As the days progressed, Mia's unease grew. She switched her phone to silent during meals, stayed longer at work, and tried to divert Alex's attention with unwarranted sweetness. Their once harmonious connection was fractured, strands unraveling in a vivid tapestry woven with betrayal. Alex felt the pull of triumph every time a flicker of fear crossed her face. The flames of his vengeance were now lit. 3 more weeks spiraled by, fraught with rising tension. Alex could almost taste victory as Liam's carelessness morphed into an invisible noose, tightening around their necks. He saw them together more frequently against the backdrop of his own reminders of shared dreams, of what used to be a life shared only with trust. Each step forward in the plan felt empowering, a reassertion of his life. With Liam's birthday approaching, Alex had a malicious idea, a final act before he unraveled the whole facade. A party, he thought, but not just any party. He would orchestrate it. Finer details of the party fell seamlessly into place, every move solidifying the trap he was laying. Invites were sent, buzz circulated, and with it, Alex's heart thrummed with anticipation. He made sure every mutual friend was invited, ensuring the right audience would witness the unraveling of lies. Then came the night of the party. The air was thick with tension. Laughter rang around him as he circulated among their friends. Alex had donned an air of charm, flitting through conversations while his dark intentions simmered beneath the surface. As Mia entered, dressed in the blue sundress he once gifted her, a dagger plunged through his heart, but it ignited his resolve all the more. "Hey Alex, nice to see you," she beamed, trying to radiate warmth, yet her eyes darted around, searching. Infuriated at the emotional game, Alex suppressed a smile, pretending everything was normal, every ounce of pain buried under layers of practiced indifference. Eventually, he caught sight of Liam across the room, his laughter filling space in the vibrant atmosphere that Alex had turned into a breeding ground for malice. The rage simmered, waiting to boil over as he finally strode toward them, every step punctuated by the rhythm of his furious heartbeat. "Happy birthday, Liam!" Alex grinned, the words dripping with irony. That of his stomach danced with promise, preparing for the confrontation he had envisioned in fevered dreams. "Thanks, man, you came!" Liam exclaimed, his smile bright and unrepentant. But Alex could see it, the slight twitch of recognition deep within Liam's eyes before he shifted back to joviality, grasping Mia closer. "Of course, wouldn't miss it," he replied, keeping his voice smooth, while drawing Mia's attention with subtlety. "I just hope you both are ready for a fun night." As the night unfolded, Alex kept Liam engaged with stories meant to amuse while subtly feeding Mia's paranoia. Finally, Alex decided the time had come for the ultimate reveal. With the chatter buzzing in the background, he gathered everyone's attention. "Can I have everyone's attention, please?" Alex's voice boomed, cutting through the laughter like a knife through flesh. Conversations fell silent, faces turned toward him. There was a moment of collective curiosity that rippled through the crowd, while Mia's expression shifted from bemusement to apprehension. "I think we need to recognize our birthday boy, but we can't forget to mention the unsung hero behind tonight," Alex continued coldly, drawing out the tension with precision. "Liam, you must be really good at hiding. After all, not everyone can keep their infidelities hidden from their friends." Gasps floated through the crowd, astonished stares flared between familiar faces. As he kept his glare fixed on Mia, he could feel the truth of their betrayal penetrating the atmosphere, electric, palpable. "Let's expose the hidden truths tonight, shall we?" he continued, raising an eyebrow at Liam. The walls held their breaths, waiting. "You've both woven a beautiful lie, but the truth has a funny way of showing itself." With one swift motion, Alex thrust his phone into the light. Displayed prominently on the screen were the incriminating messages exchanged between Mia and Liam, the words painfully explicit, the context crystal clear. Mia paled, her face drained of color as she stumbled back, colliding with the disbelieving responses from their friends. Room crackled with shock, tension building into brutal silence as whispers danced around them. "Alex, please don't do this," Mia's voice choked, pleading. Yet there was no hiding from the cruel spotlight revealing their treachery. Liam's facade crumbled as judgment settled in. He muttered an expletive under his breath, the smirk vacating his face utterly. Every eye in the room was now locked onto the tableau of betrayal. Liam leaned toward Alex, masking his fear with bravado. "Dude, this isn't cool," Liam hissed, frustration lacing his tone. But Alex turned the tables, his voice ice-cold and deliberate, laced with pain. "What's not cool, Liam? The fact that everyone knows your dirty little secret? Or the part where you stood under my roof and laughed with me while sharing Mia's bed?" Mia reached for Alex, desperation written all over her face. "I'm sorry. It was a mistake," she breathlessly exclaimed, imploring him to listen. But he only shook his head, the betrayal flooding over him, realizing that there were no redeemable moments left. In that storm of anger and despair, a final line surged from deep within. A final line surged from deep within. "I might not have fit your definition of a man, but as you can clearly see, I'm not the one sitting around waiting to make mistakes." The revelation echoed in the room like a thunderclap, underlining the brutal truth of betrayal laid bare. The shattered silence morphed into a cacophony of hushed murmurs, and as Alex met their judgmental stares, he felt an odd satisfaction coursing through him. Margot had exposed herself along with Liam as unworthy of trust, and Alex stood among friends, basking in his calculated revenge. In that moment of exposed vulnerability, Mia's shame became his dark liberation. With every lingering gaze, the air thickening with realization, he turned on his heel to leave, leaving them behind in their web of deception. "Happy birthday, Liam," he muttered quietly as he departed, his voice a dagger cutting deep. "Maybe next year you'll be careful about who you betray." Outside, the rain fell in relentless sheets. The hasty retreat of his chest tightened, yet felt invigorated. Alex walked with purpose, free of the burdens that had shackled him. The satisfaction of revenge washed over him, relentless and rejuvenating like the rain that refused to cease. He stepped into the darkness, feeling a twisted sense of freedom as storm clouds unveiled themselves above, rumbling with thunder that echoed his resolve. They had both lost everything. In the end, it wasn't just betrayal, but a complete unraveling of everything they had taken for granted. As Alex walked away, the finality of his revenge hung thick in the air, a promise seared into the very fabric of his being. They had spurred the storm and unleashed his wrath. Now, they would forever swim in the ocean of their own choices, drowning in the depths of their deceit. "You'll always be my second choice, won't you, Mia?" he whispered into the downpour, an epitaph for what once was. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like.